of the most common methods to configure an office full of Microsoft Windows computers is with group policy. For the most part, group policies are settings pushed into computers registry to configure security settings and other operational behaviors. Group policies can be pushed down from Active Directory, actually pulled down by the client, or configured locally. In my work experience, I scrutinize each group policy setting within its group policy object. With Windows 8.1, Windows Server 2012 R2, for example, there are more than 3,700 settings for the operating system wallet. I'll let you a little secret. I care about only 10 things in the group policy settings. I'm not saying you should stop at these 10 since each properly configured group policy setting can reduce risk. I'm saying that 10 settings determine most of your risk, everything else is gravy. When I start looking at a new group policy, the first thing I do is scan these 10 settings. If they are set correctly, I know the customer is doing the right thing and my tax will be more easier. Get these 10 things right and you will go a long way toward making your Windows environment more secure. Each of these falls under the computer configuration, Windows setting, and security settings list. The first one is rename the local administrator account. If the bad guys don't know the name of your administrator account, they will have a much harder time hacking it. Renaming the administrator account is not automatic, so you will have to do it yourself. Number 2, disable the guest account. One of the worst things you can do is to enable this account. It grants a fair amount of access on a Windows computer and has no password. Fortunately, it is disabled by default. Number 3. Disable LM and anti-LM version 1. The LM, LAN Manager, and the anti-LM version 1 authentication protocols have vulnerabilities. Host the use of anti-LM version 2 and Kerberos. By default, most Windows systems will accept our 4 protocols. Unless you have ancient that is more than 10 years old on past systems, there's rarely a reason to use the older protocols. They are disabled by default. Fourth number is disable LM hash storage. LM passwords, that is LAN Manager password hashes, are easily convertible to their plain text password equivalent. Don't allow Windows to store them on disk, where a hacker has dump tool would find them. It is disabled by default. Number 5. Minimum password length. Your minimum password length for regular users should be at least 12 characters. 15 characters are longer for elevated user accounts. Windows passwords are not even close to secure until they are 12 characters long. To be truly secure, 15 characters is the magic number in the Windows authentication world. Get there and it closes all sorts of backdoors. Anything else is accepting unnecessary risk. It's 0 characters by default, so you will have to specify this requirement. Unfortunately, traditional group policy settings accept a maximum value of only 14 characters when setting the minimum password size. You use the newer fine-grained password policies instead. It's not so easy to set and configure in Windows Server 2008 R2 and earlier, but it's really easy to set with a GUI in Windows Server 2012 and later. Number 6. Maximum password age. Passwords 14 or fewer characters long should be used to no longer than 90 days. Windows default maximum password expiration period is 42 days, so you can either accept the default or increase it to 90 days if you like. Some security experts think it's fine to use the same password for up to 1 year if it's 15 characters or more in length. Be aware, though, that extending a password expiration period increases the risk that someone could steal and reuse it to access other accounts owned by the same person. Shorter password expiration periods are always better. Number 7. Event logs. The vast majority of attack victims would have detected the breach sooner if their event logs had been turned on and they made a habit of checking them. Make sure you are using the settings recommended in the Microsoft Security Compliance Manager tool and use the added subcategories instead of the legacy category settings. Number 8. Disable anonymous SID enumeration. SIDs are security identifiers. These are numbers assigned to each user, group, and other security subject in Windows or Active Directory. In early Windows versions, non-authenticated users would query these numbers to identify important users, such as administrators and groups, a fact that hackers love to exploit. Fortunately, enumeration is disabled by default. Number 9. Don't let the anonymous account reside in the everyone group. This setting that previous one, when set incorrectly, could allow an anonymous hacker far more access on a system that should be given. Both settings have been enabled by default since 2000. Make sure they stay that way. Number 10. Enable user account control. Lastly, ever since Windows Vista, user access list or user account control has been the number one protection tool for the people browsing the web. I find that many clients turn it off due to old information about application compatibility problems. Most of those problems have gone away and many of the remaining ones can be solved with Microsoft's free application compatibility troubleshooting utility. If you disable UAC, you are far closer to Windows anti-security that you are to that of a modern operating system. UAC is enabled by default. If you have been paying attention, you will note that 7 of the 10 settings are adjusted correctly by default in Windows Vista, Windows Server 2008 and later versions. Most of my Windows security books addressed the settings I wanted you to more security harden that I have got. These days, my best advice is to change only what you have to and don't mock the majority of the defaults. When I see problems, it's usually because people go out of their way to weaken the defaults. That's never good. There are a handful of more important things to do before you begin worrying about group policy, such as perfect patching and preventing your users from installing Trojan horse programs. Once you have those efforts under control, correctly configuring your group policy is a great next step. Whatever you do, don't waste your life studying all 3700 settings. Instead, make sure you get the top 10 right and you are most of the way there. Thank you for watching.